Hey everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I want to show you how to do a very free-spirited, easy running Vanner Stallion. This is a great horse painting if you're a horse lover and you're really enthusiastic about it. It's also a great painting if you love this sort of abstracted plumage and blend out that can happen in watercolor. I'm going to show you every step of how you have to create it, so all you got to do is get your materials that you're going to find in the description. I'm going to write them all out. Hiding nothing from you, come back and meet me in the studio and we'll get making that right now. Now let's look at our materials. Today I am working on a 140-pound watercolor block. That means that things are glued together and it has an area for you to take it off. You can also call this 300-gram paper. We're talking about the weight of the whole paper ream. It's very heavy. It's not going to buckle under the water. This is cold press, which means it's slightly bumpy. I have loosely sketched in my horse here, and I'm going to go over this again and show you that when you're doing a horse, you want the head to be sort of a triangle shape. I'm going to sweep the neck down and just very lightly bring in the forward leg, the second nearest forward leg. I'm actually not even today doing too much of the hoof. I'm just wanting to get the basic overall shapes. If you're not somebody who draws, the free traceable will be on the website, theartsherpa.com. You can get it there anytime. It's just available for you, and there's nothing wrong with tracing. And if we need it, I'll make a whole video about how to transfer on. Now, I'm just painting one color of paint today. This is Paynes Grey. This is core watercolor, but any Paynes Grey will work. I like this one because it has a lot of wetting agent that allows it to bloom into the wet areas of my canvas easily and really well. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my number 8 round. This is really, you don't need very many more brushes than a number 8 round for acrylic paint. I'm going to dip it in water. I'm going to load it up with my black, and I'm going to come along the front here, and I'm going to just paint some of this in with a nice little hard edge, maybe right back here. This is my dark hard color. I'm also going to come and very lightly put in a nostril to the forward facing chest. I'm not doing any of my wetting yet because I want some very hard edges before I ask the paint to give me all these soft ones. That way I'm implying, and I think it's important to imply these things, some of the more defined shapes that I would have, like under the belly. See how we're doing, how I'm brushing that out? This is very different than maybe how you've done a horse in the past. But what we're talking about is the things that make a horse what they are, the shapes. Sometimes beginners feel overwhelmed by this process, and I don't want you to. Just go ahead and use the traceable and follow along. We're coloring the dark back leg, and we're going to come behind this just a titch with this hard line, and that's going to blend here. I don't really have too many other hard lines to worry about. I've got one more. I'd like to make sure that this is very dark here at the back of the knee and coming up the leg, a little bit down the back here, before I begin to wash it out and show where some of my more hards are. So I've got a lot of really good solid color. I'm going to rinse out because I'm going to want clean water. I'm going to go ahead and take my water, and I'm going to do something very important, and it's going to start blooming and pluming right away into my water. I'm going to get it clean again. You can see it's doing that. Now I want you take your clean water and back where you think the mane would be. Just be free and very expressive all through the neck. See that right there? Okay, we're going to do just the neck part and lots of free areas for the watercolor. And this is where I think core excels because it does do this nice plume. I was actually talking with a friend of mine about that. Now, I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to go from the wet into this dry, and you're going to see blended and then loose shapes, and that's going to be really important. Look at that bloom. going to go ahead and be a little darker right there because I know it's going to plume out. And I'm going to not get too much into there. All right. I think we've got some beautiful, beautiful blooming coming out into that. All right, rinsing, rinsing, rinsing. Now I'm going to come very carefully between here. And you can see just anywhere the water touches it, it begins to start to soften and work. And because this is a vanner, I really want to imply that we've got some fuzzy feet here that I'm working with. So I'm going to just let that water carry that shape down, right where I would have that. Let that carry that down. I think that's really, really lovely. I'll go ahead and talk about the knee, maybe a little bit darkening that here, but you can see again, what is it doing? You can even take a couple little stronger little hairs out. Now, while that's having a rest, because these two are touching, I'm going to go ahead and come back here through the body. And this is about to be like my favorite thing. And I'm going to load my brush up with so much water. I'm going to come off the back of the tail. And I want you just to be very loose. Okay? And I want you to touch into here with this paint. Now, if you don't have this brand of paint and you want to improve how this blooming happens, you can always use something like Oxgall or a wetting agent to help the capillary effect happen in the water. Are you just losing your mind for this tail? I'm going to dip in and go ahead and let some of this happen into the body, right? Keeping this very light. It doesn't need to be super dark. Just on the tip here. And I'm just going to come down very light. Rinse out. And I'm going to let this really open up. And then we're going to be back here behind. And go ahead and let some of these little areas be what they are. Okay to let paint do the work. This is a paint does the work piece. There, look at it working. It's amazing. Is he stunning or what? I'm rinsing. That's what you hear me doing. I'm going to go ahead and come along here just real fast. I'm leaving a slight hair's edge between these two things, but it's okay if they touch, if the two legs touch a little bit and bleed into each other. And let's go ahead and make sure that we maybe talk a little bit about how those feet feather out. Get a little of the darkness, get a little of that Paynes, and look at that. Rinse out. You've got one last thing to do. So I might, just in temptation, go like this. Couldn't help it. Into the tail, right? And look what you can do here. A little bit of hard edge versus soft edge. Just too much fun. Rinse, 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 rinse. And all I'm going to do is just pull the water into here. I'm going to be very careful around this dark spot at the nostril. I'm going to allow it to do what it wants to do, which is to bleed into itself. And then I'm going to sign back here. I hope this got you a little bit excited about what you can do with painting. It's really amazing. It's something everybody can do. You don't ever have to have heard the words, "You're talented and you should do art," to start painting today. Those words are very capricious and they're sort of arbitrary. And since art's so subjective, what if the person who was supposed to get you wasn't there when you were being creative and you didn't hear those words when you needed to? So I'm going to say them to you now. You're very talented, you're very creative, and I think you should take up painting today. I want you to be good to yourself and good to others, and I want to see you in the studio really soon. Bye-bye!